God understands everything you're going through. God understands that you need a right now breakthrough. God understands when your friends forsake you. God understands when your family misunderstands you. He knows and He cares when you're down and in despair. Don't you worry, child. God understands. I tell you, He knows and He cares. Don't you worry, no. He answers prayers. He understands. God understands when you feel like giving up. Oh, God understands when you're sad because you don't feel loved. God understands why you cry, the very tears that you cry. God understands the times you'd rather not live but die, that He knows and He cares when you're down and in despair. Don't you worry that He answers prayers. Said my God said He understands, said He knows when you're down, He'll pick you up. Don't worry, don't you worry, God understands. Sing tight. God understands all the pain you feel inside. Oh, God understands all the tears you try to hide. God understands the depression that brings you down. Oh, God understands the hurt that turns your smiles to frowns. 'Cause He knows. Say it again, oh, He knows. I'm so glad He knows. How well He knows. He knows every tear you cry, every pain that we share. He knows, yeah. He knows, yes He does. He knows, yeah. God understands. Yes, He knows. All of your hurt and pain. Every tear you cry. Yeah, God understands. God understands. God understands. God understands. God understands. God understands. He knows. God understands. He knows every hurt and every pain.
Well, good morning. Great morning to you. I hope you are doing amazing today. And I hope you can already sense God has extraordinary plans to bless your life today. Good morning. Of course, this is Bishop Henry Bolden, and I am so delighted to be with you this morning. I want you to do me a favor. Of course, hit that share button, tag, tweet, text, inbox. You know how I say it. Yell down the hallway. Nudge somebody next to you and tell them to tune in right now. Get in front of the largest device or whatever's available, because I believe today is going to set the stage for the week for you. But I need you to do me a favor. Make sure you are sharing. Make sure you are sending those hearts and those likes. We absolutely love to see them on today. All right, this is going to be an amazing week for you. And I was thinking about something early this morning, and I want to talk a few moments about when in doubt, doubt the doubt. That's the subject for this morning. When in doubt, doubt the doubt. I would open by saying to you, ladies and gentlemen, it's not who you are that holds you back. It's who you think you're not. It's who you have written off that you are very capable of being or becoming that actually stunts your growth, that stifles your momentum, that hinders you from making extraordinary and excessive progress in your life. Because you get into this mode where you're constantly doubting who you are, and you find yourself self-interrogating, even asking you, who do we think we are? And even greater than who do we think we are, why do we think we are? What indicator in life is giving us the audacity to make the assumption that I am this, or I am destined to be this, or I am very capable of becoming who I see myself as? And self-doubt can be quite a formidable opponent. Self-doubt does more to sabotage individual potential than all external limitations put together. And that's why I say when you are in doubt, you have to discipline yourself to doubt the doubts. Helen Keller said something that has always stuck with me. She said, doubts and mistrust are the mere panic of timid imagination, and which the steadfast heart will conquer. Watch this. And a large mind will transcend. Let me give you that again. Doubt and mistrust are merely panic of a timid imagination. It's your too small of an imagination getting fretful and fearful because of what your spirit is projecting, what you see in your spirit, the things that God has predestined, preordained you to become. And it can be quite challenging to see yourself in that posture, see yourself. Has God ever shown you who you were becoming or destined to become, and it frightened everything in you? It shook you to the core. I mean, you've heard the story years and years and years ago. There was this banner that used to be in the back of New Home Ministries. And on that banner was a picture of Prophet Robert Charles Blake Sr., Bishop R.C. Blakes Jr., and Bishop Samuel Blakes. And one day I'm sitting in church, 19 years old, 20 years old, maybe. And something hit my spirit. It was so overwhelming to me that I went to Bishop Samuel Blakes and I said it to him. Ordinarily, when I think about it, it was the Lord's prompting, because I would have just seen it and kept it to myself. But in the vision, I said to him, I said, you see that banner across the back of the church over there? He said, yeah. I said, see, it's you, your brother, and your dad. I said to him, one day I'm going to be on that banner as well. Now, you got to understand that there was nothing favorable that would indicate this would be a reality, right? It wasn't. He was shocked. I was shocked. I was shocked that I was saying it. I was shocked that I had heard it. I was shocked that I was even seeing it. But I did not allow a timid imagination to make me write off what God was very clearly showing me in my spirit. And because the first thing that generally happens is when God shows you something in your spirit, then that self-doubt starts working overtime. Says stuff like, who, you? Come on, man. You had to have been drinking, and I wasn't a drinker, so I knew I wasn't intoxicated. I wasn't impaired by any means. But it was the Spirit of God arresting me, inundating my imagination with a would-be, what's going to happen, what's against all odds. I mean, I had no reason to even dare to think that somebody like me, who had done what I had done, who was living like I was living at that juncture, would dare to say, one day I'm going to be on that new home banner. But how many know one day is a reality now? Because you have to take dominion and authority over the enemy's attempt to allow self-doubt to control the destiny of your life. Repeat after me. Say, I have to doubt my doubts. Yeah. What if I told you? What if I told you that a single voice in your head at one juncture or another in your life, watch this, has cost you a dream job, a meaningful relationship, a once in a lifetime opportunity? What if I told you, and I knew it to be an absolute fact, that that voice in your head has cost you considerably? Because, ladies and gentlemen, self-doubt is what I call very often a thief of tomorrows. What do I mean by that? It's a thief that steals potential. It's a thief that steals time. It steals your joy. It steals the what could be's of your life, because you're so busy second guessing yourself, and you're always at a point where you're trying to talk God out of what God's trying to talk you into. God's trying to talk to you about your destiny. You keep reminding him of your history. God's trying to accelerate you and position you in a whole nother dimension of living, but you have allowed self-doubt to stifle so much of your creativity, your ingenuity, to the point that you can look back over your life and you can credit self-doubt for being the culprit. The promotions you didn't ask for, because of self-doubt, you thought, well, maybe I don't deserve it, and maybe I'm not worth it. The ideas you didn't share, because self-doubt told you that's stupid. Nobody's gonna, that's ridiculous for you to even conjure up that this could be something that is necessary or something that is worthy of contributing to the world. And you have allowed this internal voice that keeps in being insistent of trying to deduce who you are. And so when you look back over your life, it is self-doubt, that voice that has cost you great moments, great opportunities, great doors, the promotions you didn't ask for, the ideas you didn't share, the networks you didn't build, because you thought you were inferior to so many people. You felt inadequate in the company of a lot of people. And it's actually, hear this, it's actually your mentality, your mindset that has marginalized you. Because I've lived long enough to tell you that it's not so much what other people say about you that marginalize you or relegate you to the margins of life, as much as it is what you are pondering, what you are contemplating every single day of your life. But hear me when I tell you, whenever you begin to hear this internal critic, this internal thief of tomorrows start to rage in your thoughts, that there's some things that you have to do. There's a filter that you have to run every thought to. And it's very simple. And I don't share this with everybody, so I must like y'all, because I'm gonna give you this quick filter that I think that will help you to weed out the inconsistencies of the enemy, that will help you sift through the inaccuracies about you that the enemy is trying to convince you are very much real. When you notice the inner critic piping up in your life, you got to run your thoughts through this quick filter. Here it is. First of all, number one, catch it. Catch it. That means you identify this negative thought. And then this is why people always talk about discernment only in the context of discerning the people that could be injurious toward us, or the things that could be injurious toward us. But sometimes you have to have, well, not sometimes, let me retract that. All of the time, you have to have discernment to discern even when you are toxic towards yourself. Man, I wish somebody had taught me this years ago, because I had my guards up for your toxicity, but I didn't have my guards up against my toxicity. The things that I regurgitated or repeated that other people told me, that I adopted as truth, when in actuality, it was just a falsehood. It was just a deceptive tactic to see myself lower than I really was. And so you have to catch it. Not only do you have to catch it, but watch this. When you catch those thoughts, number two, you got to check it. That means I got to challenge it. That means I have to have this combative stance relative to what I'm going to allow or disallow, right? We get so caught up in checking people, but in reality, you should start checking thoughts. Does this thought have permission to inundate my life, to shift my perspective, to change my outlook, to interrupt my progress? Thoughts have to be checked, because how many know the enemy is coming at your mind, and the way he comes at your mind is to inundate you with negative thoughts and make you really, really critical of yourself, to make you extra judgmental over you, your capacity, your ability, your capabilities, or the lack thereof, right? And so you got to check every thought. Not only must you catch it, but you have to check it. And what do I mean by check it? This is the primary question that I always ask. Every thought that feels like it's attempting to negate my future, here's what I ask it. Is this thought 100% true? Is this 100% true? Right? For instance, your thought may come to your mind and say, I'm gonna blow this. I'm just gonna totally mess up this opportunity. Right? So now that I've caught that, now the next step in this process is to check it. Is this 100% true? That's why you got to watch the words of the comment. I fumble everything. I'm not good at anything. Is that 100% true? Because your life is being governed by inaccuracies. What's a more balanced thought is what you have to ask yourself. Well, it's not that I mess up 100% of the time. It's yes, that there's been some times that I have missed the mark, but it's not a defining moment. It's a moment for me to regroup and approach it differently so that I will have a better outcome. So when this negative internal thief of tomorrows, thief of the what could be's in your life arise, first of all, you got to catch it. Second of all, you have to check it. Thirdly of all, you got to change it. You got to change it. I like that. You hear that in alliteration, right? You got to catch it, check it, change it. You might want to put that in the chat today, because I want that to resonate in your spirit. I want you, when you walk away from this session, I want that to really be embedded in your spirit, that when I'm in doubt, I have to doubt the doubt. How do I do that? I've got to check the thought. I've got to catch the thought, I've got to check the thought, and I've got to change the thought. In other words, when we talk about changing the thought, it means I have to reframe it into something more helpful. And most of all, you heard me say this word a little bit today, I have to make sure that the thought is helpful, but most of all, I've got to make sure that thought is accurate. Instead of saying, I'm not as capable as everybody else, or I'm always messing up, you got to learn how to speak to yourself so that the best version of you is always in the forefront of the pursuit of your future. You got to learn how to say things like, I'm well prepared and I can handle whatever comes up. Man, I'm giving y'all my private stash stuff today. I've got to say to I am well prepared and I can handle whatever comes up. If you know, that's right, put it in the chat. I got to catch it, I got to check it, and I've got to change it. I cannot simply allow my thoughts or this negative internal critic or the thief of your tomorrows to simply have free course in my life. It will cause the deterioration of your expectation. It will cause the decline in your aspirations at this point. And so you got to determine in your mind, I am going to catch it, I'm going to check it, and I am going to change it. Now, here's the truth of the matter. Here's the truth of the matter. Because you are so brilliant, and because you are so favored, and because you are so gifted, so talented, so skilled, and because you want so very much out of your life, that inner critic will never necessarily be eliminated. That's just the bottom line. That internal negative critic will never necessarily be eliminated. But the goal is to, as much as possible, drown it out, reduce its volume, and change your relationship with it to the point that you can barely hear it as background noise. You got to relegate it to being simply background. You know, you can hear it, but you don't hear it enough where it alters your mood or shifts your position or changes or reconfigures what you want out of life. As long as you are hungry and driven and want as much out of life as you want out of life, believe me, that internal inner critic is going to be there. But the objective is for you to be so inundated and attracted and preoccupied with and by the positive aspects of your life that the volume of the negative begins to be turned down. Lord, I would rent me an usher if I could, because I feel an usher moment right through here. Some of you have to become more preoccupied with the positive aspects of your life. Hear this. Stop letting what's not working stop you from moving ahead with what is working. Stop allowing what's wrong to hinder you from using what's right and working that and making the best of it. You got to stop being so preoccupied with the things that are not favorable to stop you from moving forward in your life with the things that are very much favorable in your life. But you got to turn that volume down. That's why some people in my life, I always have to say, huh? I can't hear you. It's the volume is too low. You gotta. There's some people you just relegate to background noise. Who are them? That's background noise. I'm not. You heard what they said? Barely. Not enough to make any kind of difference. Not enough to, ruin my appetite. I'm not losing my appetite over you. I'm not losing any more hair over you. I'm not aging prematurely because of you, because I've got to a point in my life now where I put people in categories. And one of the categories I have, now you might need to pray for me. I'm not above being prayed for, but I have a category in my life. And here's the subject heading of it: people who no longer mean enough to matter. Now I'm gonna give you that for free. I ain't even gonna charge you a dime for that. That's my tip to you today. You got to categorize some people in your life and say you don't even mean enough to matter. It doesn't elicit a response from me. It doesn't deserve a rebuttal. I'm not going to refute it. I'm not going to match energy behind it. Absolutely not. Some people don't even mean enough to matter. And you are expending unnecessary energy trying to respond and answer people who have an inaccurate view of you anyway. Because if you're sitting around thinking that I can't do it, then that's an inaccurate view. And I'm not going to allow you to project your inaccurate view of me on me. I've got to catch it, I've got to check it, and I've got to change it. I am capable. I'm prepared. As a matter of fact, if you know me or the people who are really close to me, they know I pride myself on perhaps being among the most prepared in any room I walk into. I may not be on the program. I may not be scheduled there. But at any moment, something can shift. Somebody can get sick. Something goes wrong. And everybody's scrambling around. What we gonna do? I got it. We good. We got it. Because when you learn how to conquer and take dominion over self-doubt in your life, then you're going to develop a certain level of confidence, again, that has nothing at all to do with the degree of cockiness. This confidence has everything to do with prep work, preparation, laying yourself before God, saying, God, whenever, however the opportunity shows up, when it appears, I'm going to be ready to walk into it. Because every time you choose not to act because of fear or because of the impression that self-doubt has left in your mind, you reinforce the belief that you are not capable or worthy. Now, let's be honest. How many things have you avoided doing because you were afraid to fail and doubted that you had what it took to succeed? I mean, don't let the pressure overwhelm you, because here's the truth of the matter. If you're anything like me, your answer would be too many times to count or too many that you care to remember. The longer you allow fear to dictate the direction of your life, the longer you postpone your destiny. But as you begin to confront your fears, you will discover that your capacities far exceed what you initially perceived or believed. Now, see, that should marinate in your mind the rest of the day. Let me give you that again. As you begin to confront your fears, you will discover that your capabilities far exceed what you initially perceived or believed. That's why I'm trying to impress into your mind how necessary it is for you to challenge any narrative that hinders your progress, whether it originated from within your own mind or it was imposed upon you by others who claim to have your best interests in mind. Now, although their intentions might be well meaning, any advice that leads you to believe you are incapable or ill prepared to pursue the future you envision for yourself is counterproductive. Would y'all excuse me if I just took a praise break right here? Because see, this is personal for me. When I'm teaching you, I'm not teaching you some abstract lesson. I'm teaching you life applicable, very in real time things that I have experienced, that I know for sure that you will have to face and that you might have to deal with in life. But I'm telling you, I've got the remedy, I've got the answer and the solution for you. And that is why it is critical in this season of your life that you surround yourself with the right company, those who are cheering for your success, as well as those who help you. Watch this, combat any thoughts or individuals that oppose it. Never underestimate the power of having the right people in your corner. That's why every so often you got to do a people audit. You gotta audit your circle, and you gotta check, are they good for me? And don't be selfish. It ain't just are they good for me, but am I good for them? Is this mutually beneficial, or am I as good to them as they are to me? Am I lacking? Am I deficient? Are they doing more cheering for me than I'm doing for them? Man, I always brag about my circle. I around the world, people know my crew. Man, listen, there is no better feeling than being in the middle of your squad and your people. You, Bishop Samuel Blakes, Bishop R.C. Blake, we cheer for each man. Listen, when God ordains people for your life. I was last night, yesterday evening, I text Bishop RC. I won't tell you what I told him, but I told him something that I really felt. It was uplifting. I sent him the message. He sent the message back to me. Like, man, that's you my boy. Because you gotta have people that are cheering for you. The problem is you're surrounded by people who shout for you in public, but shoot at you in private. Folk that are taking shots at you. No, you got to have people that are cheering for you, man. There's nothing I like seeing more than my people winning, than my people excelling. That I could point and say, that's my guy right there. Ain't nobody better than him doing what it is that he does. And consequently, and on that same token, you got to have those people that are pouring that into you. And let me tell you, there is no greater combatant to your self-doubt than being around people who know how to speak to the you that's evolving, that's becoming. The people that look at you and say, oh my God, man, Jesus, look how far you've come. Man, I'm proud of you. I'm looking at what you're doing. I'm seeing where you're heading. And there's nothing that makes me happier than seeing you become everything God has wanted you to be. That's why I keep telling you, stop underestimating the power of having the right people in your corner. These individuals provide two of the most valuable resources anyone connected to you can offer, and that is encouragement and perspective. They remind you that you are more, hear this, than you think you are. You ever had somebody talk so good about you until you said, wait a minute. Okay. Well, I believe I'm that then. I didn't really consider that to that extent, but if he's saying it, and you ever met somebody that was so convinced of how good you were that you had to say, wait a minute, okay. All right, well, maybe I am. If they're seeing, you got to have people that see more of you than you see of you. These are what I call the safeguards of self-doubt. People that see you and are not going to let up until you see the you that they see. Until you see the individual who's got that kind of gifting, skill, and anointing in your life. And you got to have these people, again, these are what I call, you might want to write these down. These are the safeguards to self-doubt. Got to have people they're not selfish. As a matter of fact, these people are selfless. They push you. They promote you. They platform you. They tell you, okay, do this, shift this. You can look on their face and see that they get enjoyment from being a part of your perfecting process. And they smile. There's a certain look. And if you got those kind of people in your life, there's a certain look. I know the look on the faces of the people in my life. And they say, yeah, that's my dude right there. He giving it to him. He's laying it. You know why? Because their unwavering support helps you to navigate the inevitable challenges and setbacks that you will undoubtedly encounter. They help to reinforce your belief in your abilities and your dream. Their interactions aggressively challenge your self-doubt. As you engage with them, people who uplift you, you begin to internalize their belief in your potential, which can serve as a powerful counter to self-doubt that's trying to plague you. And that's all I'm trying to tell you. Got to have these people in your life. God is sending a significant support system in your life that are there to help you counter those inevitable bouts with self-doubt. Do we have it from time to time? Absolutely. Absolutely. There are times when you kind of, can I pull this off? Do I have enough of what it takes to do this particular job? And you look over and in the background saying, man, if you don't pull yourself together and do what you do, and do what you do, and immediately it causes the vanquishing, the elimination of the influence that, again, that internal negative critic, that thief of your tomorrow, the thief of your what could be. It causes all of that stuff to subside. Here's a statement I want to say to you, and I want you to replay it over and over and over and over again today. And I want you to say it to yourself. I want you to have a conversation with yourself. People say you're crazy if you talk to yourself. I say you're crazy if you don't talk to yourself. Here's the statement. You must be brave enough to believe in yourself. You might want to put that in the chat today. You must be brave enough to believe in yourself. Some of you need to text that to somebody. You need to pick up the phone and call somebody. Maybe they need to hear direct interaction. Just say, hey, I didn't call to hold you, but I am led. I have a charge. I have an instruction to tell you that you must be brave enough to believe in yourself. Now, I feel like the Lord sent me here to you today. I felt like today is a day where you got to doubt. When in doubt, doubt the doubt. People going to say, what you say again? When in doubt, doubt the doubt. When in doubt, doubt the doubt. I know the enemy's trying to tell you what can't happen and what will never be destined to be in your life. But I am telling you on this day that you got to doubt that doubt. You got to be surrounded by people who safeguard your mental state from believing the inaccuracies of the enemy. Those who are trying to project upon you the fears of going forward. Those who are trying to marginalize you. Those who are trying to relegate you to a place of average and normality. Got to have people around your life that speak so powerfully that it breaks down every barrier. Vincent van Gogh said this, and it was a pivotal moment for me. The renowned painter and sculptor and artist. He said, if you hear a voice within you say you cannot paint, then by all means paint, and that voice will be silenced. Ladies and gentlemen, I think what I'm trying to tell you is that what you are hearing in terms of what you can't do is the enemy's deterrent from you doing it and being excellent at it. There's some things that you want to do, that you have visions to do, that you feel very prompted by the Spirit of God to do, to engage in. The enemy is telling you, you can't do that. Nobody in your family's ever done it. You don't have the history. You don't have the background. You didn't even go to school for that. And you hear all this chatter, all of this background noise is trying to convince you what you can't do. But if you hear a voice within saying you can't paint, you better get your brush out. You better pop that top off that paint and start painting, and that voice will be silent. The voice is only there to stop you from proceeding as planned. I want to pray for you today, because today you are not going to be a prisoner of that internal critic, of that thief of tomorrow. You got a lot to look forward to. You got every right to be excited about getting up every day to see what this day is going to unfold for you. And I want you right now, I want you to release your faith, because there's some things that God is ready to do for you, but we got to deal with that doubt. When in doubt, you got to doubt that doubt. Father, in the name of the Lord Jesus Christ, I speak now over the lives of every individual that's watching me now, that will rewatch, that will replay. I thank you now, God, that this lesson, it's merely not just a lesson, but it's a divine download, a blueprint for how they are to manage, direct their lives from this moment forward. To Father, every individual who's doubting themselves, if you hear a voice telling you you can't paint, then by all means get a brush and paint. That voice is going to be silenced. So Father, I thank you now for liberty and liberation. I thank you now that they're going to figure out real soon that they are much stronger than they think they are. I thank you now, God, that they've got a whole lot going for them that the enemy is trying to rob them of through self-doubt. And I call your people blessed and favored. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen and amen. Would you give the Lord a praise wherever you are right now? All right, we're getting ready to honor the Lord, and now we're giving today. I want as many of you to participate. Again, we teach our people at church that we never see giving as an option. It's always an opportunity. It's an opportunity. Whenever you give to God, whenever you give to his ministry, it's an opportunity for God to show himself very strong and mighty on your behalf concerning you, not just you personally in your personal economy, but in whatever business endeavor, entrepreneur pursuit you are going after. The Lord of heaven, he's not just the Lord of heaven. The Bible identifies him as the Lord of the harvest. And I'm going to tell you, you can't beat God's giving no matter how hard you try. So I want you to get a seed prepared today to sow into the ground. You know the rules of our giving. We say it over and over again. If you're willing and able to do it, I want you to allow the Spirit of God to speak to your heart and say, what am I supposed to release today in this offering? As I kick off the beginning of my week, as I sow this seed, what do you want me to release today? And I want you to do that. Now, perhaps you are a tither or consider yourself a member or partner of this ministry. and you want to return the Lord's tithe, you can absolutely do that as well. The giving means are coming up really, really, really quickly for you. I want you to find one that's most convenient, and I want you to take advantage of it. Of course, you can give via PayPal and NEWHOMEMWC.org. I'll Giblify. Of course, you can text NHFWC to 54244, and you can send your seed and sow your seed offering. Of course, if you are like many people, surprisingly, in this digital age, we have people that want to get an envelope, a stamp, a check, a money order, cashier's check, and mail it in. You can send it right here to our corporate headquarters, 1605 Robert C. Blake Sr. Drive, New Orleans, Louisiana, 70130. And you can attention that to Dwan Hunter, DWAN Hunter. And we're going to pray over it and anoint your seed and pronounce the Lord's great blessing upon your life. So take a moment and give as you are doing that. All right. Listen, I hope you have been blessed today. Make sure, thank you, Tashiko. Make sure if this lesson was a blessing to you, make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you share it. Make sure you share it with as many people as possible. That's what it's all about. You are deputized as an evangelist when you're tuned in every day. You're helping us spread the gospel around the world. And do not forget, find you a new home anywhere and get there. Of course, each and every Sunday morning, you can meet me at our New Orleans East Campus, 13800 Hain Boulevard at 9 a.m. And then again, our Mother Church Campus, 1616 Robert C. Blake Sr. Drive for 1045. Our Baton Rouge location is 8 a.m. every Sunday morning. Our Hammond, Louisiana campus is at 10:30. And our Jackson, Mississippi service starts at 1 p.m. And then in Houston, Texas, H-Town, where it goes down each and every Sunday at 11 p.m. And we are excited about what God is doing through each and every one of our locations. It's an amazing thing. And we are excited about what God is doing. Listen, you already know what I got to tell you. I want you to have an amazing day, an amazing week. Go out there and get it. Everything you want, go out there and get it, because God says it is absolutely, positively yours, my friend. I'll see you next time. Blessings and faith.